Hello Internet, Doug Redmond here, and what I'm going to be showing you now is a game I wrote in PLM 360. Now, just to be clear, PLM 360 is not a gaming platform. It was not designed for people to write games on. However, I believe that there's some value in using various APIs to take a system and make it do something it was never intended to do. I believe it's a good exercise to do. You find out a lot of things about a system and what it's capable of when you do a thing like that. So it's not just me goofing around writing games. Okay, some of it is me goofing around playing games, but there is at least a little bit of value to be had in it. The thing with PLM 360, however, is most of this stuff is like configuration and scripts and things that are loaded into the tenant. It's not like I can package this all up and give it to you in a nice installer form at the moment. So that's why I'm doing this video, is I'm going to kind of take you through the game. I'll show you what it is, what I did with it, and then I'll kind of explain how I created it. And maybe you'll find some useful tips about how PLM works and the things you can do with scripting. Or maybe not. Maybe you just want to goof off for a few minutes. That's fine too. But let me show you the game. Now, I should also mention that this isn't necessarily a fun game. It's just kind of a really basic experiment that I'm doing here. So I created a bunch of workspaces, and I stuck it under the category game. It's got the little Atari joystick icon. It's supposed to be a stamp icon, but it looks like an old school joystick. So that became my icon for these workspaces. So the game itself is under this game workspace, and there's only one object in there, one item. And that kind of represents my my game or the game engine. So here over on the right is kind of the game area. So I've got my hero. His name's the 25 here means he's got 25 life. Here's a little picture of him. And the game itself is called The Deadly Dungeons of Doom. So this is kind of a old school RPG type thing where you're a hero and you go through dungeons and you fight monsters and you collect gold and it's all very heroic, right? So that's what this middle image is here. It's the room that he's in. There's some text that kind of describes the room. And over in the right here, it's empty now, but if there's monsters, the monsters show up there. So how you actually play the game is through these workflow actions. So when you want to do something, you select the appropriate action and then things happen. So let me take you through that. Okay, so we're in the starting room. You're in a large dome-like room. There's a door to the north and a door to the west. There's no monsters in the room. So let's go west. And PLM pops up this comments thing, but for the game purposes, we don't really care. We just hit the save step button. This is going to refresh a bit. Okay, you're in a small, smelly room. Piles of rotted meat are stacked in the far corner. There's a door to the east. A hungry-looking rat comes scurrying toward you. So again, I play by going under the workflow actions. I can either go east and flee from the room, or I can attack. So let me go and attack the rat. You do 3 damage to the rat does 0 damage to you. You kill the rat and gain 1 gold, and the room is now empty because I killed the monster. There's not much else to do here, so I'll go back east. As you can tell, this is not a very action-packed game. Okay. Back where I started, dome-like room, no monsters. Okay, let's go north. The room is tastefully decorated in a post-colonial style with subtle Gothic undertones. There's a door to the south. The room has no monsters in it. So I think you probably get the general idea of the game. Since I'm just kind of doing a demo, I didn't bother, putting hundreds of rooms in or anything like that. Just a couple things to prove out the idea. Let's take a look at this, my hero. What does the hero look like? So one of the workspaces I created was hero. And you can, set the name, the portrait, give him a little biography. As he kills things, he collects gold. And then he's got statistics. And I didn't go for anything really fancy here, right? He's got his life points. There's just some values for attack and defense. And a little checkbox to kind of, when he dies, I want to record the fact that he's dead. Now, a couple more things that I've created for this game. So rooms is another workspace. So when I want to design a room, I would create new items in here. And let's go back to that bedroom style room. And what I did is I set up a little monster table here, or a spawning table, right? I could say, okay, for a given room, what type of enemies might show up in the room, and what are the odds that they're going to show up? When I went there the first time, the room was empty because there was only really a 20% chance that there'd be a monster, right? 10% chance it would be a spider, 10% chance it would be this feature creep monster. So just for the sake of demo, let me edit this thing and kind of show you what would happen if I played around with this. So let's make it 50-50. This way we'll definitely get a monster in there when we go into the room. And I can also show you what that other room looked like with the meat, right? It was just one entry where it said, okay, rat. There's a 100% chance of a rat in that room. Every time I go in, I'm going to find a rat there. And then if I go back to the starting room, there's no monsters in the monster table because I wanted that to be kind of like the safe area. So anyway, I updated the room, so let's see what happens when I go back north. And wait for it to refresh. Okay, now we've got a monster in here. A product designer is in the room. He tells you to add one more feature even though the product releases tomorrow. So this guy's the feature creep. God, I hate those. All right, so let's attack this guy. You do 4 damage to feature creep. Feature creep does 4 damage to you. So notice my life went down a bit. I can also flee the room if I want. If I flee, the monster gets a free hit. See, it says feature creep does 3 damage to you right while you flee. So now I'm down to 18. If I go back north, the monster's still there, and he still has the life total that he had when I left. So the game kind of remembers that state. Let me just quickly finish this guy off here. Actually, again, I think I'm going to go and cheat here. Yeah, he's got 6 hit points. I'm just going to speed this up. I'm going to bring him down to 1 so that I'm sure that I kill him in 1 hit here. You do 1 damage to feature creep. Feature creep does 3 damage to you. You kill him and gain 45 gold. So I go back to my character. I see he's got he's collecting some gold, and that's really all he can do in this game so far. I haven't programmed anything more complicated. Okay, so let me show you how I set up the game. So let me talk about these workspaces a bit more. So the game workspace is the engine. That's the thing that ties everything together and lets you perform actions in the game. Heroes is just where you can create your hero, give him biography, set all the statistics and how much gold he has and how much life he has. That all gets stored as in your hero item. And you know, if you want to, you can create multiple different heroes and play through as different people. Rooms is pretty self-explanatory. So each item in this workspace represents a room, and I'll show you a bit later how I hook these rooms together. And then monsters is also pretty self-explanatory. You create an item for each type of monster you want to encounter. But the most interesting workspace is the game workspace. That's interesting. It even has... Oh, it's just complaining. I hit a couple of fields, so it's complaining about that. I'm going to show you what the workflow looks like. So the game is a workspace that has workflow capability. The other 3 do not. They're just pure data. But this one has workflow. But I'm not really making use of states that much. There's a single state, and all of the actions just reflect back on that one state. And the reason I did that is because I want to run an action script. And that's really the purpose of these transitions. I just want to run the script. And the script is going to do all of the things that the game does. So when I'm moving from one room to another, a script takes care of that. When I attack, the script's going to figure out what damage I do to the monster, how much damage the monster does to me. It's going to update all of the records and you know, things like that. So that is kind of the trick I was using here. So there's really only 5 things you can do in the game. 4 of them are just related to moving in a direction, right? Go north, go east, go south, go west. And I put them on the grid here according to their direction, but of course you don't have to. It doesn't really matter. And then attack is kind of the last one. Each of these transitions also has a precondition. That way I know to, if you're in a room and there's no entrance or there's no exit to the north, I don't want to display the go north action. Or if I'm in a room that has no monster, I don't want to have the attack action show up in the pull down. So that's why I have these preconditioned scripts, so that the game isn't confusing you with things that you can't do. Okay, looking at the item details. Now this is the thing that it's kind of complaining about. I created a section and I hid it because when I'm playing the game, I don't want to. There's certain things I don't want to see. Certain things that are just being tracked because the scripts need to store data somewhere. But the player who's playing the game doesn't really need to see that data. So the part that people could see is this game part up here. So this had the hero, which is a pick list that's linking to the hero workspace. Then you have this matrix here. This is where I put all the images in. So the heroes, the room image, monster image, all of this text. Most of this data is derived. So whatever hero is playing the game, the image is derived from that pick list. Same with the room. the room image and description, they're both derived from a pick list field, and same with the monster. So yeah, down here in the part that's hidden, I've got the room. Whatever room I'm in is stored right here. Whatever monster's in the room is stored right here. And I needed kind of a placeholder monster to say, if I'm in a room that's empty, technically it does have a monster entry. It's just called empty. So I wanted to remember that special case. So I just created a field and had that remember it. So room monster and empty monster, these are all pick list values pointing to the corresponding workspace. And to hide it, I just went into the advanced settings. I have this group called empty group. And I said, okay, these are the only ones who can view it, and there's no one in the group, so it's effectively hidden from everybody. Even though it's hidden from the UI, the scripts can still read and write that data, though. So that's kind of how you can do things in the background without, showing it to the end user. All right, that is that workspace. I kind of already showed you the Heroes workspace. There's not much more to talk about there. Next, I'll go to the Monsters workspace. Again, it's another pretty obvious one. So I've got my empty placeholder monster. Then I've got like the rat monster. Now, so it's got the text description, the image, the name, the various statistics, how much gold you get when you kill it. But what these items represent isn't... It's more of a template for the monster. It doesn't represent the monster itself. For example, there's only one rat entry in this workspace, but I could have designed a game with 50 rooms, and they could have all had a rat in them. So what happens is when you go into a room and there's a monster in there, the room itself remembers the monster. It's probably best if I just kind of show you what that looks like. So see, the room remembers, oh, this is what monster is in the room right now. Right, the empty monster. If I go back to the game and I go, if I trigger one of those spawns, so we'll go back to the room with the rat in it. See, now it set the rat field, and then it copied over the hit points. So now when I'm battling it and the monster's hit points are going down, it affects the room entry, but it does not affect the monster entry, because the monster is just kind of like a blueprint. Okay, so how do I know which rooms are hooked to each other? That is done with the Relationships tab. So I basically went in and I said, okay, rooms can be related to other rooms. So whatever rooms are adjacent that I can move to is going to go into this collection. And then, well, okay, how does it know which room is north and which room is east? That is done through these X and Y coordinates. So kind of one of the limitations of the game is you have to put all the rooms in a grid. And you give them coordinates, and the coordinate will then determine... the script can use that to figure out which one is in which direction. And then I already showed you the spawn table, where you can basically... I use the grid feature in PLM, where I can create as many of these entries as I want, and I can give them certain odds, and that's the percent chance that that monster is going to appear. Now, only one monster can be in a room at a time. So, like, if I made these both 100, I think it would result in just the spider being shown. Alright, let me show you the scripts real quick. These scripts are also available for download. There should be a link up here with this video where you can get to my blog, and then you can download these scripts, because that is something I can kind of like package up and give you if you wanted to have a look at them. So here are my condition scripts, right? There's the can attack and can go in direction one. So can attack, whether checks to see if you're dead. If your hero dies, you can't do anything. So, but then to determine whether you can attack or not, I just say, look, is it the empty monster? If the monster is something other than empty, then yes, we can attack. Otherwise, no, can't attack. For the direction one, again, I'm checking if the hero's dead. But I've got this library where I have a function that says get room in a certain direction. And on the transitions, there's this value called custom trans ID, where it's this little string. Actually, I'll probably just show it to you real quick. Can go under show IDs, and it shows you the custom ID. That looks like a decent enough key for me to use in my scripts. So I just pass that value into the function. The function figures out which room is in that direction. If it comes back null, then you can't go in that direction. Otherwise, the answer is true. So just exit out of this one. There's no validation scripts, attack or action scripts. So there's the attack one. Not really going to go over all of this, but you kind of get the idea. There's some functions to do the damage. I set the little text underneath your hero. The script will set that, basically saying, okay, well, here's all the stuff that happened. You kill the monster kills you, or maybe you die, and things like that is all kind of handled there. And when everything's done, then that little text field is updated. And then when it comes to actually moving from one room to the other, I got a script for that. Again, I'm using that transition ID, and I'm actually using the same function where I say, okay, which room is in that direction, and then okay, if it comes back not null, then we're going to go and update everything. So we're going to spawn the monster. We're going to set the monster data in the game state. Going to set the description text, or yeah, going to set the description text, all that good stuff. And then I've got my library script, which just contains all the other useful stuff. So this is the calculating which room is in a given direction based on my starting room, right? So it's using that XY coordinate. It's using that custom transition ID. The code for whether or not a monster spawns. Nice thing is you got this math library that you can use in JavaScript, and it's got a random function, so that's how I can kind of make it a bit more interesting of a game. And then my little algorithm for determining how much damage you do and how much damage the monster does, and that good stuff. So like I said, I'll package all these up for download so you can take a better look at them. And yeah, that is my game. So hopefully you got some value out of this. If you really want to build your own game and want to know more about what I built here, feel free to ask me questions in the comments section or on the discussion groups. So thanks for watching.